Hi, and welcome to Two Dumb Schmucks, where we've already failed miserably at the process of starting this podcast.
I think it's going well. Uh, no, I don't. I don't think it's going well. I'm Dick McGriffin.
I'm
You're the man who shall not be named.
what the hell?
we, yeah, the podcast is Dick McGriffin and the man who shall not be named,
Dick McGriffin and Condom Pony, aka Riley. What?
aka man who shouldn't be named.
Just oh my god. But
You haven't earned your name.
can we start this over?
Yes, we can start.
I'm completely off track now. We lost any semblance of coordination.
We're doing good. We're doing good.
Oh, we're doing great. So yeah.
Push. Remember to breathe. Remember to breathe. Okay, go ahead.
So after a week-long hiatus because of alcohol and other random things, we're back from outer space, and we're back in here right now to see that sad look upon your face. We should have made you change the lock.
Major. Okay.
No, so basically, we're here today to talk about business and business ethics. There's been a couple things that have happened recently, and we want to talk about them because we're both businessmen, question mark?
Entrepreneurs.
Entrepreneurs. We're both entrepreneurs.
Or as Always Sunny would put it, we're flan rapists. Or full-on rapists.
Full-on rapists.
It's a small reference to a very funny FX show. But anyway.
No one knows about Always Sunny Cheddar.
A lot of people know about it, but continue. But we're not full-on rapists. I have to say that for legal reasons.
Our lawyer wants us to tell you that we're not full-on rapists. But we have experience running businesses. We have experience doing stuff like this. We have opinions we have opinions when it comes to business ethics, which that was clunky as hell. But whatever.
Do we now?
No, I have zero opinions. Huh?
Well, hold on a second though. Do you have my opinions? Because I'm seriously looking for them, and I can't find them. I can't find my opinions. I think I misplaced them. Oh shit.
Oh shit.
I think I left them at work. Oh, I left my opinions at work.
All right, that was the show, ladies and gentlemen.
We're about to win an Emmy for. I don't know what the podcast award. I don't know. Do they have podcast award?
I
don't know.
Would be very surprised if they did. But so leading us off was we want to talk about the sausage party. Actually, Tylee, what the heck was it? Sausage party.
Ashley Madison was.
Oh yeah, Ashley Madison. That was the first thing. I forgot about that one. So Ashley Madison, tell us. You wanted to tell us about this.
I think it's funny. Okay, so for those of you who don't know what Ashley Madison is, God bless you. First and foremost, God bless your naive souls. Ashley Madison is a website for married people to have affairs. It is as simple as that. I'm not going to go to their website, so I'm not going to get their caption, but I think it's somewhere along the line of life's too short, have an affair, or something along those lines.
something dumb like
something like that. So anyway, if you've heard, and some of you may have heard about it but didn't know what Ashley Madison was, there was a huge hack. I think it was last year, and it was a bunch of names got released of people who were paying customers on Ashley Madison. And it turned out that a lot of them were high-level government and military personnel. There were some celebrities, but nobody hugely famous because it never really came out. But anyway, there was a lot of well-known people or people in high positions of power that were on this website. Now, it doesn't guarantee they were cheating. Apparently, a lot of people that go on never actually have an affair. They talk to these web bots or whatever they call them, sex bots if you want. And anyway, so the point is they got hacked. All this information got released, and there's this big ordeal. The leader, or the guy the CEO or whatever, stepped down. And so people have been wanting to leave. Obviously, people that were wasn't out there, or it was, but they weren't, important enough that anybody cared. They wanted to leave the website. Ashley Madison decided they didn't want to lose the money, so they blackmailed people.
Yes.
A copy, thanks to a website or thanks to a particular person, his name's Graham Cluley. I have the letter that they basically their blackmailers. They're sending letters to the homes of these people, and they're telling them, trying to politely blackmail them in a way to say, if you want to leave, we have to send this to your house, yada, yada, yada. Which, if you notice about the whole being married, having affairs things, typically you live with your wife. And typically they're home, they're the one, they probably check the mail. So.
Well, actually, that raises a good question. Is this exclusively a men cheating on their wives website? Or
no, women can do it too, but from what I've read on this, there's so much more men. Yeah, there's a lot more men that are on the website than women.
Okay.
But women can join the website and cheat on their husbands, but I think they just go to bars and do that. Men are like, I got to do this online. Women are just like, I'm going to the fucking bar and I'll sleep with the next dude I see. Because they can do that.
Truly the classiest.
Men can't just go sleep with anybody. Women can, pretty much.
Pretty much. But
so I wanted to read the letter because I haven't read it, and I thought it would be funny to see my reaction as well as Riley's reaction to what this. It has to be an absurd letter. It has to be. So
my body is ready. Go ahead.
Okay.
What do you want me to do? I can't do anything on my side. No, I read the letter.
Never mind. Okay. So I'm going to read this. Now, there's some parts that have been redacted, I guess, for legal purposes, or maybe it was. I'm not sure if this is how the thing was. Maybe it's. But there's some things that have been redacted, so there will be some blanks. Anyway, so it starts off, hello, blank, whatever your name is. You don't know me, but I know you very well. As you likely know, the Ashley Madison website was hacked a little while back, and in the process, some personal information from tens of millions of their clients was compromised. Let that sink in for a second. Tens of millions of people trying to cheat on their wives or spouses. As scary as that sounds, most of their families will never find out. First, they would have to actively seek out the information. Second, the files containing the information are multiple gigabytes in size and are not all that convenient to access if you don't know how. There will be some spammers who shoot out mass threatening emails to those on the list, but they can safely be ignored. Only the unlucky few will draw the attention of a true blackmailer willing to actually research a target's family and acquaintances. Unfortunately, blank, you are one of the unlucky ones. Yes, I know about your secret, that you paid for services from a company that specializes in facilitating adultery. But what makes me a threat to you is that I have also spent several days getting to know about you, your family, and others in your life. All you have to do in order to prevent me from using this information against you, blank, is to pay me $2,000. And before you ignore this letter, consider this. You received this via first-class mail. It wasn't a spam email some Nigerian sent to thousands of people. That means I spent money on it. It means I took extensive counter-forensics measures to ensure the postal inspector would not be able to track it back to me via postmarks or via prints and DNA. It means I paid cash for a printer that couldn't be traced back to me. I have spent considerable time and money on you, blank. So if you decide to ignore me, you can be certain that I sure as hell won't ignore you. Holy fuck. Holy fuck.
That's
that's very threatening.
Wow. That's a pretty threatening. Yeah. Where do they want the money sent?
Here it continues. It's not over yet.
All right. Well, keep going. Because that's insane.
Yeah. The last man to whom I sent a similar letter decided to ignore me. Perhaps he thought I was bluffing. Feel free to contact him yourself if you wish to verify my sincerity. His name is blank, and he is a blank. Their website is blank. His phone number, if he hasn't changed it yet from embarrassment, is blank. He used his office address for his credit card billing address on Ashley Madison. Track down his residential address at blank. So again, this letter is giving out personal information for somebody.
Yeah, yeah.
From there, it was a simple matter to learn that he has a wife named blank who works for a blank. He has a lovely college-age daughter named blank, though she goes by blank. So here is what I did when blank did not pay up by the deadline. I, of course, anonymously contacted his wife, blank, and told her about blank's membership on Ashley Madison.
Tylee? Uh-oh. Well, it would appear that Tylee is currently being assaulted by these people himself. Well, I'm absolutely floored by this, folks. I want to wait till we get to the end of the letter before I really voice my comments. So until that point, I'm just going to sit here and make random noises until Tylee comes back, I guess, because I don't have access to the letter. But this is ridiculous. Yeah, he's gone. But this is ridiculous, folks. This strikes me as doxing. At least it seems to be. I could be completely wrong, but it strikes me as being doxing. But once Tylee is back, which he just came back into the thing,
Fuck, my bad. That was
yeah.
that was odd.
Okay, what the hell happened?
It was a connection issue, but then I don't know. I'll finish reading it. It's almost done.
Yeah, so hold on. You were at, he found out his wife, he sent information to the guy's wife.
Yeah. He contacted his works colleagues. He also contacted his daughter and his daughter's boyfriend. And I contacted several of his superiors, peers, and subordinates at blank. You see, blank, if you don't comply with my demand, I'm not just going to humiliate you. I'm going to humiliate those close to you as well. Then there was another man to whom I gave the same letter, and he chose to pay. I'll call him Mr. Wise. No, that isn't his real name. I am not going to share any of his information with you or anyone else, ever. You see, his secret is safe with me, and he will never hear from me again. So the only real question you need to ask yourself is whether you want me to treat you like blank or like Mr. Wise. That choice is completely yours. If you do not wish me to destroy your life, then send $2,000 in Bitcoin to the receiving Bitcoin address. Yada, yada, yada. Payment must be received within 10 days of the postmark date on this letter's envelope. And if you're not familiar with Bitcoin, it gives you how to.
Yeah. So
fuck.
So okay, so this wasn't sent by Ashley Madison. This was sent by the hacker.
I believe so. I guess it was. Well, let me go back because this says this is what
you kind of made it sound like this was sent by Ashley Madison earlier.
Well, the articles, here's what an Ashley Madison blackmail letter looks like. I guess I was assuming that it was an Ashley.
Okay.
And how they then began to be sent out by extortionists via.
Jackass! You assumed. You never assume.
Well, it could. It might not even be that hacker. It might be.
Yeah, it could be anybody. No.
Yeah, let's blackmail letter goes on to give detailed instruction. Yada yada yada. Yeah, I mean, you're obviously going to contact the authorities, but it's. Yeah, it probably is hackers, or it could be just various hackers. I'm assuming that letter is obviously one particular hacker. But it could be Ashley Madison. I mean,
yeah, but I think
certainly can't put it past them for what.
The safer assumption with that is that the safer assumption would be that it's the hacker sending this stuff out. So okay, that's not really a business ethics issue, but that's still pretty screwed up.
Yeah, and they're sending letters to wives too.
That's pretty screwed up. Like that's whew.
Well, here's my opinion, my humble opinion on that whole thing. I don't agree with cyber terrorism, which is essentially what that is. But I also don't agree with cheating.
Yeah.
If you don't want to be faithful to one person, don't be in a relationship
Yeah,
with
don't
one
be with
person.
that person. Yeah.
Move to Utah, become a Mormon.
Or have it understood in your relationship that you're gonna,
Yeah, have an open relationship.
yeah. And
Find somebody that's
if two people are consenting, fine.
yeah. So in my opinion, you don't cheat. I don't understand it, and I'm a dude, and sexual desires and needs and all that shit. But I don't understand cheating because I don't understand making commitment that you're not willing. I don't understand that.
Well,
But
you have a sense of honor,
yeah,
shall we say?
yeah. So fuck people who cheat. So that part of me is why I thought it was kind of funny. I'm sitting here thinking, okay, it's pretty shitty to blackmail somebody. But when the person you're blackmailing is trying to cheat on their wife, and because you don't know the situations, I mean, some of them may have terrible marriages, but some of them may have wives that have been really good to them, and help maybe even raise their kids pretty much all alone while he's off at work or fooling around with other women. So fuck those guys. But at the same time, it's just like you read this letter, and it's wow. I mean, it's not a ton of money. I mean, 2,000 Bitcoin is, I don't know what it translates to.
Well, $2,000 in Bitcoin. Is it 2,000 Bitcoins or $2,000 in Bitcoin?
It says 2,000 Bitcoin.
That's a lot of money.
It says $2,000 up front. In the letter, it says $2,000 with the dollar sign, but then at the very bottom, it says $2,000 in Bitcoin.
Well, $2,000 in Bitcoin is just $2,000 in. It's like saying $2,000 in euros. Yeah.
Okay, I thought there was an exchange rate from Bitcoin to.
Well, there is, but it's hold on.
I could do it here. So one Bitcoin is 570 US dollars.
Yeah, but they're not asking for 2,000 Bitcoins. They're asking for $2,000 in Bitcoins.
Okay, so that would be. Okay, I got you.
Yeah.
That would be 2,000, which would be $3.50 in Bitcoins. 3.5 Bitcoin.
Yeah.
Wow. It's not a lot. Yeah, it is still kind of.
Huh?
It's still fucked up. I mean, $2,000 is $2,000, but it's at the same time, it's not like $50,000. I mean, these guys are cheating. Part of me thinks it's funny because it's karma, basically saying "pay up, bitch." But
yeah, well,
that letter's pretty fucking threatening.
That letter is pretty threatening. I mean, that's the kind of thing where, I have a serious problem with revealing someone's information.
Yeah.
Like even just revealing someone's name if they don't want it to be revealed kind of rubs me the wrong way. I don't know if it's I don't think it's illegal, but and it may not necessarily break any rules anywhere, but it strikes me as being a really shitty thing to do. You're kind of a scumbag if you do it. Whoa, what the hell?
Well, you got to think about this.
Yeah.
There, what? I sent the link, but
anyway. Oh, okay. I heard a noise. I was like, what the hell was that?
It's probably like a little ding for that. I sent the link. Okay. Anyway, so I know I agree with you. It's because if you're just blackmailing them for cheating, it's $2,000, and that's the end game, and that's all it is. That is karma. It really is karma. But you're right. If you putting their information out there, someone might come in and use it that doesn't want. Here's the other thing you're not thinking about. Is somebody could take that information and then either steal their identity or, God forbid, do something to their family, the people that were innocent, the ones that were basically victims in the whole cheating scandal.
Yeah.
Now their information's out there because they live at home. I mean, this guy was talking about you have a wife and a college-age daughter. I mean,
you're not just
now their information's out there.
Yeah, this guy's not just blackmailing the person he sent the letter to. Yeah. This guy is blackmailing everybody. Is literally blackmailing everybody involved with this person.
Yeah.
Into this person. I mean,
they know how to contact these people, which means they know how to basically find them. And God knows who would pay for that kind of information to do whatever they do. So I mean, it's cyber terrorism, and it's
cyber terrorism.
At least, it's unfortunate that those people, because you also think about, I mean, it makes them seem shittier for not only were they cheating, but now they've put their families at risk of God knows who out there on the internet. Yeah, that now has access to their information.
Yeah.
So the word.
Uh-oh. Daily? Oh, his internet sucks. Yeah. So basically, folks, it just strikes me as such a scummy thing to do. Just a scummy thing to do. Really, releasing information about somebody, um, just it's just it's a very scummy thing to
I'm
do.
right near my router, and this shit is terrible. How does it get? God damn it! If I got further away, it would probably.
That the hacker knows that you're talking about him. Or yeah, he's coming to get you. Yep, Tylee's gone again, folks. So long and short of this isn't sadly this we thought this was going to be a business ethics thing. Tylee kind of presented it as being a business ethics thing before we started the show. It turned out not to be, but that's a really crappy thing to do to somebody. Obviously, I mean, I think everybody can agree that blackmailing a person is a crappy thing to do. At the same time, a lesson to the people that they might be the victims of this. You shouldn't have been cheating on your spouse. You just shouldn't have been. If you make that kind of a commitment, live up to that commitment. It's as simple as that. You wouldn't be in this position if you had just been a good spouse. Doesn't matter if you're, married to a man or woman or someone of the same sex.
Oh fuck!
There you go. You're back. Okay.
Yeah, I don't know what's going on. I apologize. It's like it works fine now in full bars, and it goes down to one bar.
That's
There's
okay.
no
That's okay.
storm. I don't know what's going on.
Your internet just sucks. You're a failure. Just accept it. It's okay.
It is pretty bad sometimes. So anyway, I don't know where you got off to, but we can
Well, we're kind of ready to kind of move on.
move forward. Yeah.
But hey, speaking of dicks going into places they shouldn't be going, tell us about Sausage Party.
I like the segue. So, so there's a movie out. It's an animated movie. It's a rated R.
They know about the damn movie.
Not everybody knows about the movie. It
probably.
Okay, so I'm not going to go. I've never seen it. It's an animated, rated R animated.
Done it, and I know about the movie, huh?
Sure. Animated rated R movie. Yada yada yada. So this movie was made and it was released not too long ago, and word came out after it was released that some of the animators, and it's an animated movie, so they're pretty much the people that did everything, except for the voiceover, did some of them were not getting paid overtime. So they would have to work overtime, but they were not getting paid. And so there's also I think some of them quit because of the conditions and had been working on the project for a year, sometimes over a year, and were left off the credits, which means that hurts their resume because that is their resume, is their credits.
Yeah.
So they got royally fucked. And apparently yesterday, or at least this article's yesterday, the union, and it is the Unifor Local 2000, it recognizes it's filing a complaint because these aren't unionized animators, but this Unifor Local 2000 the movie was done and all this stuff was done in Vancouver.
Huh.
And yeah, it was done in Vancouver, Canada, because they get all these tax credits for movies. So that's a lot of people go up there and do movies, TV shows. It's basically the Hollywood of the Northwest.
Well, it's the Hollywood of Canada.
Yeah.
A lot of shows and stuff are doing this in Vancouver now.
Yeah.
Go ahead. Yeah.
So anyway, they're filing a complaint on behalf of the non-unionized animators. Apparently, this studios, Nitrogen Studios, was not paying their employees the necessary overtime, which is time and a half. I think everybody knows that. So They weren't getting paid, and so apparently the spokesperson for actually not the spokesperson, the vice president of the Unifor local. Apparently, she said that this happens a lot in Vancouver. She said, quote, Vancouver has almost become like a sweatshop for these animation companies, end quote. So basically, like what Nike was accused of doing over in, was it Bangladesh or somewhere out, Indonesia or something like that. She's comparing it to sweatshops. I think that's a little bit overkill, but it's fucked up. You pay your employees, and if they work overtime, you pay them time and a half, or you cut their, or you know don't make sure they don't work overtime if you don't want to pay them time and a half.
Yeah. Well, this raises basically the questions. I've been doing a little bit of research on this leading up to the show, and while we were discussing it a couple minutes ago, and a couple questions come to mind for me. First off, were they on contract? Oh, thank you. Is this the article?
Yeah, I think typically they do. From what I understand, this was a separate article. This wasn't the one that you're looking at, but a different article that was written by somebody who had done this work before. She actually was an animator and worked for a company, I believe, up in Vancouver, but wasn't Nitrogen. But anyway, but she had said that what happens is a lot, and I don't know this specific case, I'd have to read more on it, but a lot of animators, basically they work for a movie. That's why it's so important. The credit thing was so important. It was because that's their resume. And it's not like they sign on with Nitrogen Studios and Nitrogen's going to do 3 movies and they're good for 3 years or whatever. They sign on for Sausage Party. And let's say it takes a year. Animated movies take a long time to get done. So let's say it takes a year and a half or whatever, and they're working for a year and a half. Now they got to go find a job. And so they have to, when they're going out to find that job, they go back and say, here's my credits. I was on Sausage Party and this and that.
But if you're not in the credits for the movie.
If you're not in the credits, you can't put that. And so, you might have other work, but what if Sausage Party does really well? Right?
Yeah. Which I don't think it has.
I haven't been I don't really pay attention to current movies and box office results, but it might be the best work they've done as far as movie sales and revenue. So companies will look at that, but they can't use that because they're not on there. There's no credit of them ever having worked, and especially if they spent a year working on this project.
Yeah,
I mean it's ridiculous, and it's just, and there's also different things. I mean, because I know Obama was talking about raising in the United States, raising the amount for overtime. So basically, if you make more than a certain amount of money, you're not required. You're basically exempt from overtime pay. You're not required. Your employer is not required to pay you overtime.
Yeah.
And apparently, British Columbia has an Employment Standards Act where workers that are considered to be, quote, high technology professionals, end quote, are exempt from overtime pay. So I think that's kind of the argument that certainly Nitrogen Studios will make, saying, well, these people are high-tech professionals. Because, I mean, that's pretty it's involving technology, and you got to be very knowledgeable to do the animations for a movie, I would imagine. I don't know the first thing about animations, but I know that
we're not animators, obviously. And,
yeah.
But still, like my question still stands, though. Like, were they on contract? Like, is it the kind of thing where it's like, for instance, you work for, you're brought on to work for a certain amount of hours at a certain, like $10 an hour for X number of hours. If you complete the job in less than the allotted hours, then you basically get, you basically ended up getting more than $10 an hour for your work. But if they take longer than longer than the allotted time,
yeah, like a variable pay rate.
A variable pay rate.
Yeah, I mean, I don't even know if they were on hourly.
Yeah,
because as long as they're under a certain threshold for salary or for what would you call it, the gross income in a year, as long as you're under whatever that threshold is for being exempt from overtime. Well, it doesn't matter if you're hourly or on salary; you have to be paid overtime.
But now
the
question
to me, that's the question.
Yeah. Well, now the question. Well, okay. Yeah. No, that is a good question. Another
Well, now the
question.
question is, are they exempt by being high tech employees?
Yeah. But Vancouver's not in the United States, though. That law doesn't
British
apply to
Columbia,
Canada. British Columbia is in
BC law.
Canada. Yeah,
British
but
Columbia absolutely is. It's where Vancouver is. It's the province where Vancouver is.
yeah, but that's. Oh wait. Oh, so this was a Canadian law. I thought you said this was a
The
U.S.
high tech worker exemption is British Columbia. Sorry if I didn't make that clear.
Fuck,
It is
man. I thought you
British
were talking
Columbia.
about something Barack Obama did.
No, I mentioned that because he was trying to raise the threshold for
Okay.
overtime
Okay. Oh, okay.
up to
Okay.
like 50,000. So if you make less than 50,000, if you make more than 50,000, don't have to be paid time and a half.
They all got smashed together in my head. They all got smashed. That was
Sorry, yeah, sorry. I kind of lumped them. I was trying to make a point with Obama, and then I was trying to make a point with the whole how overtime pay works. But anyway,
no, yeah,
other
no,
than just hourly, it's not just you get paid $10 an hour, and if you work over 40 hours a week, you get paid time and a half. That's the simple part of it, but it's also a little more complex.
yeah.
But so yeah, there's a couple of issues. I don't know I think they're on contract for the movie, but I don't think it was
What?
necessarily
I would assume so.
how many hours you work. I think it's just your contract for this movie. You're a contract worker, so you got to do all that 1099 bullshit. Well, whatever they call it in Canada. 1099. 1099, eh?
Hey, it's got to get that 1099, yo. But
So I don't know if they're on contract for more than the movie. I think it's just the movie.
Well,
And
my personal opinion on this is that it's Seth Rogen, right? He's the one who made it.
well,
Huh?
he co-wrote and he stars in it, and
But he's not the producer. Who was the producer? Hold on.
I can check real quick. I think he was a producer.
Megan L.
I think
Ellis.
he was,
No, he was a producer. He was a producer.
yeah, I think he was one of several. There's usually several.
Yeah, there's 4 producers. I'm not a huge fan of Seth Rogen. I don't think he's funny.
I thought he was a nice guy. I'm not a huge fan, but I thought he was a nice guy.
No, he could be a nice guy. I don't think he's that funny.
Yeah. Well, I mean, if he's not paying it, if he's part of the producers, that I don't know. The whole thing.
Well, this
To me, it stinks all the way up to the producers, the people that are in charge of making this movie.
Well, that's what I was about to say. Was that I've never had a reason to hate Seth Rogen on a personal level. I dislike him as like a comedian. I've never thought he was that funny. But if he was involved in this, that's kind of a shitty thing to do. Like that's a really shitty thing to do to your employees.
Yeah, and that's why I wish I wish I knew, who kind of how it all came to be, because it could have very well been that if you said there were 4 producers and there's other people involved. I don't know the movie business well enough. I know that there's too many different companies involved in making one movie, and there's too many different people at each company.
Yeah.
So much red tape. It's why it takes forever to make movies. I don't know, but it adds jobs. It gives people money and jobs. So I don't know where it starts. Who's I don't know if maybe Seth Rogen didn't know about that side, because he probably, I would guess, doesn't work with the financial side, although he is Jewish. So maybe he does the finances, but maybe he didn't know that they weren't getting paid. He didn't have anything to do with it. And then there's part of me that I want to know, because what if it came down to they were all like, we need to cut costs here, so we're not going to pay them overtime, and Seth Rogen was like, fuck it, let's do it. I want to know.
Yeah.
No, it's not going to change my perception. Like you say, you don't think he's that funny. He's all right. I don't think he's great. It's not going to change that perception. But he always seemed like a genuine, nice guy.
Yeah, he always did.
You like to think there's people in Hollywood out there that aren't complete assholes.
Yeah. Well, this just goes back to the, these Hollywood actor types. They kind of just end up being scumbags. Like when you really get right down to it, there's just people around them. They all almost invariably end up looking like scumbags at some point in their life.
Yeah. And it happens. I mean, the whole thing with Johnny Depp, I was reading stuff about how he would bring his costume pretty much everywhere he goes, and he would just pop into like children's hospitals or something like that, and he would put on his costume from Pirates of the Caribbean and get in character. And I'm like, that's a really good thing to do. And he seemed approachable. He seemed like he, cared about his fans, especially the younger fans. And then, you have all these allegations about him beating his wife, and there's a divorce. Now they're saying it was, they have this mutual statement. And it's like, just, God, I hate this secrecy. I want to fucking know, because you want to know that there's good people out, because there are.
Oh,
there are definitely good people out in show business.
Yeah.
But you want to see that, and you're right. So many of them are made to look like assholes. Because think about it, that's what TMZ wants. That's bad business ethics, in my opinion.
Oh, you mean the
media? How they only go after the bad things. They don't want to tell you all the good stories of good things that are like the police officers. They only want to share when they're shooting somebody, not when they're out helping somebody, paying for a kid who doesn't have a bed to have a bed, and things like that. Like they.
Yeah, well, that's like you always hear the stories. I mean, you're talking about bad business ethics with the media. You constantly, like, okay, there was somebody in a podcast who was saying that the U.S. Police Department was like a gang, the U.S. Police Department, the United States police officers were like a gang, and yeah. I wanted to reach through the computer and slap the person. It's look, I have my frustrations with the police.
Punch him in the dick.
Does. But the police officers, when the police officer pulls you over and chews your ass out for speeding down the road, or chews your ass out for swerving a little bit, the reason that officer is giving you so much shit is just a couple days ago that officer had to peel some kid's innards off the fucking highway when the kid wrapped his car around the tree. Like, the officer sees shit that you can't even begin to understand or imagine, and they don't want you to have to go through that shit. That's why they're assholes. Like you said, you never hear the stories of the police officers who pick the homeless guy up off the street and take him to the homeless shelter, or take him to the local mission or something like that. You never hear those stories, so it's retarded.
I mean, that's
I don't want to get on a rant about police officers, but go ahead.
No, it's.
That's because that's
it's the media. It's poor. And the media is very guilty of poor business ethics, and it's not necessarily because I think when people think of business ethics, they for some reason I feel like a lot of people get it confused with business law. Think of the ethics are a law. Now, if the company has an ethics code and you don't follow it, that is grounds for termination.
Yep.
But it's not a law.
No,
it's not a federal law. It's not a state law. It's basically the company's code, and you have to follow that. That is.
Well, yeah, but
so
the company,
they're guilty of so much bad business ethics.
Yeah, well, a company can't imprison.
Rampant with it.
A company can't throw you into the the corporate dungeon. That there is no corporate dungeon.
Well, I mean, my company could.
I mean, I know, folks. All those Hollywood movies show these corporations as being big and evil. They're not.
No. None of them are.
They do stupid things every now and then, but they're not evil. They're just retarded from time to time.
Some of them like Apple. The story of my dad was telling me that just you want to talk about bad business ethics. His company was bidding a job for new Apple headquarters out in California, and basically the short of the story, because I don't want to make it a long story, is the price that Apple wanted him to do it for was at cost. Yeah. And of course, my dad's company is sitting there going, that doesn't make any sense, because how we're a business, we're in business to make money. Basically, Apple was basically, the whole gist of it was, they said the reason why you should do it at cost is because you get the privilege to build this building for Apple. Yeah,
to which my answer, and I think this was your dad's company's answer, would have been give them the finger and say bye.
Well, yeah, they pretty much said, well, then we're not interested anymore, and so it was. Yeah, I mean, if I was in the meeting, I would have said some choice words. Certainly, I would have just stood up, signaled for all the people in my company to stand up, start walking out to the door, and before I was turning and say, "Fuck you, fuck you, fuck Steve Jobs, fuck all you guys," because that's
whip your dick out and start pissing on the grave of Steve.
Yeah, and that's why I'm not a fan of Steve Jobs. I think he was arrogant, and I think he thought he was better than everybody else. And
I don't like
it shows with the company. The company thinks they're better.
Yeah, Steve Jobs and Bill Gates. I don't like either of them. I'm not a fan of either of them.
So but it's just to me that comes in like the ethical part of it's the audacity on those motherfuckers. First off, but
well, speaking of business ethics and audacity, I wanted to bring up.
Okay.
The Epipen, the Epipen scandal. So, for those of you who don't know, there's a company called, I want to pronounce it right, so I'm going to actually go, Mylan, Mylan. And they're a drug maker. No, not.
Just go ahead.
Yeah, you know what the worst part is? It could be Milan, and I would look like such a jackass.
Mulan. No, it's not Milan. Milan's M-I-L-N. M-I-L-A-N.
Yeah. No, M-Y-L-A-N. Yeah, Milan is M-I-L-A-N. But
yeah.
They create EpiPens. Well, they create a bunch of products, but they create EpiPens. And they apparently jacked up their price of the EpiPen that they create to they jacked it up by about 500%.
What every drug company does, pretty much.
What every drug company does. Now, well, I have an interesting theory about this, and I'll talk about it in a second. But I want to lay the groundwork for this. The thing about this is that the 500% increase brought the price of the EpiPen up to about $600. And the result of this is that there was a outcry. People were furious about this, and completely understandably so. I mean, the price of buying a single EpiPen now could have bought you 5 EpiPens in the past. And a lot of people use this. Like Tyler, you were telling me about your brother-in-law. Let's not get into that. But people use them. Don't want to get into the personal.
He doesn't.
Life story.
Hopefully, he doesn't use it, but yeah,
doesn't need it. But yeah,
hopefully,
life stories. We don't want to.
Well, using that as an example, though, is if it could be using an EpiPen for him. Could be. Now, it probably won't be, but it could be a matter of life or death, or at least, very hefty hospital bills.
Yeah, which now instead of having a, you now have to buy a $600 EpiPen. I don't know what.
Yeah.
I don't know the math to reverse.
I mean, the good news is if you're if your deductibles at I don't know what most people's deductibles are, but if it's at like 500, you don't have to pay for the full 600.
Yeah, you only pay $100. But then that raises the next question of, if your deductible, now you're paying $100 for the EpiPen out of pocket. Before you might have been paying $10 out of pocket or $20 out of pocket. So people are understandably upset. That's the point about this. People are upset, and understandably so. Like this is ridiculous. So what was their response? Their response was to come up with a, quote, generic version of the EpiPen, which they would sell for $300. Now, mind you, that's still a lot more than the original EpiPen.
Fuck ton of coin.
That's a fuck ton of coin. God, now I really want to know what the original price of the EpiPen was.
I don't know.
I honestly,
I've learned that this is apparently not Mylan's first.
No, this isn't their first time for price gouging.
Not just price gouging, but first time for other things.
Really? Like what?
Personal use of company aircraft, unearned degree, outsized compensation, and apparently alleged conflicts of interest. They sued a newspaper for coverage of Mylan production problems to boot.
Well, just for fun, just for shits and giggles, let's see if we can find Mylan's financial report for 2016.
Oh, apparently, where you went to high school, the Pittsburgh Post-Gazette, discovered that Heather Bresch, who's the now CEO, had only earned 22 of the 48 credits required for masters.
Well, huh.
And West Virginia confirmed that Bresch hadn't completed the executive MBA program. But then they backtracked. Apparently, then they backtracked and said she had, and then awarded her the degree retroactively. So it seems like, and I don't know what happened, but with the way it was handled, it seems like she didn't complete it. Probably had some money she was throwing around, and then they went back and said, no, she did. Here's her degree.
Yeah.
You can't retroactively award somebody a degree. Especially not when you're missing more than half their credits. You can't fuck up more than half of somebody's credits.
Yeah, hold on. I'm looking up their financial report. No, this is Edgar. Oh, what the hell?
But yeah, it was
Oh, nope. Well, hold on. I'm taking a look at their financial report right now. But
yeah, using private jet. Apparently, the former CEO was his son was going to all these gigs all over the place, and he was using the company jet for not company purposes.
Huh.
Yeah, it's apparently it's not the first time that Mylan's been, which it's a pharmaceutical company. Surprise, surprise.
Yeah, some rather questionable stuff. Hold on.
Yeah, these goddamn hooligans, man.
Hooligans.
It is, man, it's just, I don't like pharmaceutical companies. I had an experience at work where a lady called and they were trying to purchase some parts, and she wanted to get on terms. So basically, she wanted to pay with a PO and not pay with a credit card or, up front. And I told her our policy, which our policy at my job is, we always do for the first order that you do with our company, we got to establish some kind of trust. We've been scammed before. And so we got to establish some kind of trust. So you pay up front, establish a relationship. And most of the times we prefer to do it, 10 or 15 orders down the road. Sometimes we'll make exceptions, especially if that's how a lot of people like to do that, POs. And so I have people send me information, and she was fine with that. But then she went on, as I was trying to tell her that we were going to need to do the first order with payment up front, and then I would use the information, forward it on. We would review it, get back to her, and probably approve her for terms. She went on to tell me that they were a billion-dollar company. She was a bitch. And she went on to basically brag about how much money they made. They're just a huge company of so many employees.
Okay.
And my whole point was, I don't like the pharmaceutical industry for what they do. I don't like them, but unfortunately, they're kind of necessary at the moment, especially with our
they do
take medicine for everything age.
They do important work. It's just irritating.
They go about it in a poor way, and she didn't hold herself but she was basically saying we're a pharmaceutical company, we're a billion-dollar company, we're hot shit. And I wanted to tell her, go find the parts somewhere else. Oh, and one more thing, while you're finding those parts somewhere else, go fuck yourself. I wanted to tell her that, but obviously, what I really wanted to do was have her buy those parts and come back for something else and just jack the prices up. Price gouge of those motherfuckers. So if anybody does listen to this and works for a company that prices parts for pharmaceutical companies, price gouge your shit. Give them a taste of their own goddamn medicine.
Can't tell people to do that.
They absolutely can.
No.
But, it's not illegal. If we sell something in our business for 500% of what it costs to get the part, that's not illegal.
I'm still looking for their financial report, by the way.
Price gouging is not illegal. It's just...
I thought I found it, but I didn't find it. Huh?
Well, we know. If you can kind of do the math. If it was 500% or 5,000% or whatever the original price, just do the math.
Well, it's no. I'm looking for their finance. I don't even remember why I'm looking for their financial. Oh, yeah, I remember why I'm looking for their financial report. I'm looking to see what kind of money they're taking in, and I would love to see compare a financial report from before the price gouge to after the price gouge.
Whoa!
Because I'm very curious. I'm very curious to see if they're making less money. I want to know if their income report is
Probably
love.
doesn't report everything.
Well, it should go.
But something else to happen in Pittsburgh that involved the vice chairman, Rodney Piet, and apparently he paid $2.9 million for a new headquarters in Pittsburgh.
Wait, with
And
Mylan? Is Mylan a
yeah,
Pittsburgh-based company?
I don't know if they're based, but they might have moved there. They might have multiple offices.
Huh.
But apparently he paid 2.9 million for a new headquarters site, and one day after that, he sold the same tract to a business partner for $1. And then he shelled out $9.2 million for another parcel that he had previously sold to the same partner for $10. And Mylan didn't disclose Piet's role in the land sales.
Huh.
So it left him off their financial report that the shareholders see. So he's over there wheeling and dealing with his partner, whoever the hell that person is, and they're withholding stuff.
If I were an investor into Mylan, and I highly doubt an investor will watch this, but if one, by the grace of God, happens to, there needs to be an internal investigation.
Yeah.
This shit.
This needs to go to the board of directors.
This needs to go to the board of directors, and the investors need to step in and do something about it.
Well, shit, never mind. This guy was vice chairman. I mean, I don't know
It doesn't matter. You can still take it to the board of directors.
I think he was the vice chairman of the board of directors.
Yeah, but you can. It doesn't matter. You can still take.
Well, if he's crooked, I mean, how do we know they're not all crooked?
Well, a lot of them probably are, but if the investor,
his business partner isn't named, it probably was the goddamn chairman of the board of directors.
Look, Tylee. If I'm an investor into Mylan and this potentially risks my investment,
yeah,
I'm going to go in and it's going to be a pitchfork mob. It's going to be you're either going to change
alert everybody
or you're out. Alert all shareholders. This is the kind of thing where you rally the shareholders and you go, no, this shit's going to stop now. You are threatening our investments. Imagine if somebody has like $10,000 invested in the Mylan. That's the kind of thing you threaten. Like, well, I don't think you can threaten to sue over, but that's internal investigation right there.
Well, if it's a legal business practice, you can't really sue. I don't know if you can sue, especially if it didn't involve your particular investment, but they can get investigated for it, and the SEC can come down hard on them. And then you fucking get out before that shit happens. Wait till everybody sells their shares, and then the hammer drops, and then Mylan's fucked because they don't have any shareholders left. All that good stuff.
Now you're basically talking about potentially auditing them. I mean,
it wouldn't be a bad idea. Apparently, it sounds like they need to be audited on a very regular basis.
Oh, no, I agree they should be audited. But if I'm an investor, I would at least like to make sure that I get out before that point. And I'd like to get out with a little bit of money first.
No, that's what I'm saying. That's why I'm saying you get out.
My investment, huh?
As soon as you essentially blow the whistle, you get the fuck out. That's what I was saying.
Yeah, you bail. You
sell your shares and you get out. And you get all the other investors to sell their shares too. Because, if you wait for the SEC to come down on them with whatever punishment would be, it's going to affect the stock value. So you would essentially, if you didn't get out, you would probably lose money, a lot of money.
Yeah.
If not all of it. So you get the fuck out. Blow the whistle, get the fuck out.
Get the fuck out.
Just like you do with a rate whistle. Just blow it and get the fuck out of there.
Blow it, then draw your 38 and fire.
Well, preferably, but if you're coming home from a bar, you can't be carrying a 38 with you.
That's true. But shouldn't be drinking and carrying a gun. That's a fair point. But
no, you should not. It's illegal. You're not allowed to consume alcohol with conceal a firearm. Even if you have a CWP, you can't.
Might be illegal.
You can't consume an alcoholic beverage.
Might be illegal in Texas.
Well, Texas. It probably is. In some parts of Florida too, probably.
Alaska.
Oh my. Alaska.
Estonia.
Yeah. Estonia?
Yeah, Estonia. It's probably completely legal in Estonia. Let's be completely honest. Those Baltic countries are about as ass backwards as you can get. I'm sorry, Baltic countries, but you people are ass backwards.
Oh my god. Yeah.
But that's awful. But no. At this point,
a little bit. But nah, they're weird. They're weird.
They're weird people. But The
They have weird names to begin with.
Estonia,
Estonia, Latvia.
Latvia. But
Sounds
no,
like
no.
a pancake. The Jewish pancake. It
But
does.
no,
Like latkes or whatever they're called.
I
Jewish
don't
potato
fucking know
pancakes.
what they're called.
God, what are they called? I gotta look that shit up. They're
Latkes.
good. They're good as shit, man.
Latkes. I like German pancakes. I don't know if it's the same thing, but
Jewish, yeah, little potato cakes.
yeah.
Potato pancakes are called latkes. Yeah, I was right.
Latkes.
L-A-T. Yeah, I was right. Latkes.
Hey,
I know more than I think.
latkes.
Shit.
You're not a total failure.
No, German potato pancakes are fucking phenomenal.
They're delicious with a little bit of
You're
sour
absolutely
cream.
right.
Mm-hmm. Sour cream,
I like sour cream,
applesauce.
Applesauce, fuck.
No,
No, you
it's
got to
like,
get the German cabbage.
oh well, no, that German cabbage is really good
Or
too.
the
No,
German cabbage on it, the red cabbage.
yeah, but no, you don't.
Potato pancake. God damn it.
It's not American applesauce. It's like
Oh,
apple
I've had
pie.
it.
It's like apple pie.
Yeah. But I like the I really like the red cabbage they do at German restaurants.
Huh. Red cabbage.
Like Edelweiss. What was that one? The one in near Helens, Georgia?
Helens, Georgia. That's that's Edelweiss.
Yeah. We ought to make a trip to Helens, Georgia, man.
Damn right we got
If anybody's listening, go to Helens, Georgia. Place
go
is
to
awesome.
Helens, Georgia. Helens, Georgia is awesome. Go to Savannah.
It is
go to
awesome.
Charleston. Come down the south, folks. Come down
Yeah.
the south. It's a beautiful place. We're wonderful people. But
We'll compliment you on your purty mouth down here.
you know what the worst part is? The worst part where they filmed that movie was like not even like 2 miles away from a pretty major hospital.
Yeah. Well, it's right over.
It's by Katichi.
Yeah, it's in Georgia. It's right on the near the
No,
Clemson, Georgia. Not Clemson.
They filmed it in
The
Seneca.
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying. It's like right where Georgia and South Carolina meet is where that river's at.
Yeah, well, but they filmed most of the movie in Seneca, which is funny. They said it took place in Georgia. No, yeah, it's right there by.
I think they shot some of the stuff on the river, and because the whatever river Chattahooga or whatever
Chattahoochee.
is
Chattahoochee.
mainly runs in Georgia. So I think they shot a lot of the river scenes in Georgia.
Huh.
Which is really, I mean, if you think about it, it's kind of like the main part of the movie.
Yeah, but a lot of the movie they filmed over by Seneca.
Yeah.
And on Lake Kiwi and whatnot, or Kiowa. Kiwi was right. My bad.
Kiowa. It's Kiowa.
No, Kiowa's the island.
Oh, you're talking about you're talking about Seneca, yeah.
Yeah, Seneca.
Not Charleston.
No.
Area.
But so yeah. But so okay, we've gone horribly off topic.
Yes, we did. We're just giving people travel advice now.
Come down to the south, folks. It's wonderful. Go to 6 Mile. Go to Traveler's Rest.
6 Mile. Who the fuck goes to 6 Mile?
Nobody goes to 6 Mile.
I used to run back in there though.
Oh my god, I love the thing that people say around here. If you're not from 6 Mile, you wish you were. I'm like, no, I've never wished I was from 6 Mile.
No.
But so yeah, if you're a Mylan, Milan, whatever investor, this is I would be thinking about jumping ship.
Get the fuck out.
The business, like I was going to look up the stock history for them. But their stocks are down. Oh wow.
A lot.
I can't get it. Yeah, they are down. Last 5 days, I can't get a 1 month. Can't get a year. No, I can get a 5 year. They've been progressively going up, but ever since about February, the end of February, their stock's been taking a nosedive. And with this,
when information becomes public, they got caught. Yeah, I mean, it's just unethical business.
Yeah,
some of it's unethical. I mean, I know that sometimes, some of the stuff there are the questionable legal, legal things.
well, yeah, I mean, especially
the word escapes me, but
the co-chair of the board of directors, like that stuff, that's real fishy. The fact,
leaving it off of, leaving it off of, typically when things like that happen and you leave it off of your financial reports and your publicly traded company, that I mean, how illegal? I mean, was it illegal if you really go through? Because there are loopholes. You got to remember, sometimes companies do things where everybody's crying, "Oh, it's illegal! You can't do that," and then you realize, no, it's not. It's just a loophole, but it's unethical, and that's kind of the big thing.
Yeah.
Difference that if we're going to talk about business ethics, which we are, I think a main part of that is just to make sure people know business ethics is not business law. It's not what's legal and not legal. It's what's ethical.
Yeah.
Values and integrity.
I
And
mean,
Mylan has none of those.
I mean, look, the company has the right to charge what they want for the Epipen. At least as
Yeah,
far as I understand
absolutely.
it. There may be some law that prevents them from doing that, but
I don't think there's price ceilings on pharmaceuticals. I think
there really
price
shouldn't.
fixing is illegal, but
This is another thing that's going to be hard for some people to understand. There shouldn't be a price ceiling on this stuff. The company should charge what it wants to charge. The thing is,
because there should be competition.
There should be competition, and if no one buys it, if no one's buying the damn EpiPen at $600, then they should drop the price until people are buying the EpiPens again.
Right.
And the problem seems to be right now, and this is my venturing of a guess. This is just me venturing a guess here. The problem
Venture that guess, buddy.
I'm going to venture that guess all.
Oh, venture that guess. Oh, yeah, do it.
But my guess would be that what we're seeing here, behind closed doors, what's not apparent, is a clear case of a company taking advantage of the most recent healthcare system in the United States.
Preach it, brother.
Do you have a counter proposal? I mean, that's what I think. Think about it like this: everybody suddenly has to have health insurance. That the Affordable Care Act requires everybody to have health insurance. So they jack the price up because now everybody can get. People have to have health insurance. The health insurance has to cover this type of stuff. They just jack up the price. I mean, what's going to stop?
Well, they don't have to cut. It's actually you're paying more for less coverage than you used to before Obamacare.
Well, yeah.
Second off, you're supposed to have health care. You get penalized if you don't. It's still more affordable to pay the penalty at the end of the year, and then when you need to go to the doctor, unless you go a lot and you have severe problems and you're going all the time. If you don't, it's actually still more affordable to not get health care, pay the penalty, and then when you need to, go see a doctor. Because from what I've learned from people, my aunt works at a hospital. My mom goes to every doctor imaginable, and she's asked them, if you don't have health care, you pretty much get half off what people would normally pay, or you don't pay the full price a lot of times.
That was what it
and
was.
They can't refuse you if you have an emergency and you don't have health insurance. My aunt works at a hospital. They are not allowed to refuse to help you.
Well, this goes back to even before the Affordable Care Act thing. Yeah. My mother's a radiologist, and she made it very clear if somebody comes into the hospital and they don't have health insurance, the doctors aren't going to look at them and go, we can't cure you. You're going to have to leave. No, they're going to cure the person. And then people go, oh, well, that's the worst part. They need this procedure, and now they're in debt up to their eyeballs. And I'm like, no. The hospital is fully aware of the fact that you're in a bad position. The hospital will be like, look, just work with us here. What can you do? Yeah. This is okay. We can do this. We'll slash this off. This is irrelevant. Yada yada yada. The hospitals would work with people. They worked with people constantly.
Most of them, yeah, and it really depends on who's running the hospital, but yeah, they would work with you, and that's good business ethics. They would work with you and understand. Look, we'll cut you as big of a deal as we can, but you're gonna have to pay for it. I mean, they're not just gonna come in and say, all right, you're fine, whatever, don't pay. But they're not. They can't refuse you. Now, I think. Because sometimes you watch shows. We used to watch Scrubs in college all the time. We'd drink beer after class, watch Scrubs.
Excellent source of information in this.
Yeah, you should know this. So I'm kind of pointing this out. Don't watch your ER or your, what is it, Boston General or whatever the fuck other shows there are and think that that's how everything works. Because in Scrubs, a lot of times they would kick people out for not having health insurance. Now, I know some of it was like post-recovery, and I think they probably won't keep you around in the hospital without, but if you're having a heart attack and you don't have health insurance, they can't just say, we're not. Well, they have to treat you. Well, it's negligence if they don't.
A lot of times they keep you longer than they have to just because it's safe and they don't want the malpractice.
And it costs you more money.
And it costs you more money. You ultimately have to pay for it. Yeah, they're covering
Yeah.
your ass with them from malpractice, but you are still
$200 aspirin is fucking ridiculous.
that could be slashed down. That's one of those things that can be slashed down.
They
I don't want to
yeah,
go into the details about all this because I haven't fully researched all this, but
right.
basically, as I understand it, and I'm not a doctor, but this is speaking to various doctors from all over the place. My mother being one.
Well, your mom's a doctor, and my aunt works at a hospital, so we have the inside knowledge, guys.
We got the inside baseball here, but that $200 aspirin. The reason why it's $200 is because they have to have a starting point to negotiate with the insurance companies. The insurance companies want to lowball the price of everything as far as possible, and the hospital highballs it as far as possible, so that the two can meet in the middle somewhere. That $200 aspirin is really only going to end up being charged to the insurance company about $20. Now you might be saying, well, wait a minute, that's $20 for aspirin. That's ridiculous. Well, here's the thing. That's just the way negotiation works. That's the way the negotiation with
Yeah, and that's the way that I'm trying to think, because it's not. If I said what I was thinking, I would phrase it incorrectly. It's like going to a ball game and you pay $7 for a beer when normally you go to a bar and you pay $4. It's almost twice the amount of cost, but it's not. I want to say commercial, but it's not really commercial. It's really the location is the reason why. I mean, going to the store and buying aspirin is going to be cheaper than, going somewhere and getting an aspirin, like a hospital or whatever.
Well, yeah.
I got charged $300 for soap, and what else did they do? When I cracked my head open at Seneca, I can't remember Coney County.
You could have negotiated that down so fucking much. Like, you're an idiot.
I didn't know what it was, and I was bleeding from my head, so I really wasn't in a negotiating mood at the time.
You could have been like, look, I can't pay $300 for fucking soap.
I didn't pay it. I mean, my mom got a bill in the mail. Anyway, that.
Well, even from the bill, she called the hospital and been like, "What the fuck is this nonsense? $300."
Yeah, I'll give you $100. Wait, you did what? All you did was soap. I'll give you $25.
I'll give you $25 for the soap. That's called negotiation. Right. But,
God damn, we've been running.
We're almost to an hour and 10 minutes. This is cool. This is fun.
No, but it's good. I mean, that's.
It's good.
Good stuff. I mean, business ethics. It's so important. I think it's just so important. And I felt like when I was running and I wasn't a business owner, but I was a branch manager. Let's just say it what it was. I was a branch manager, but I basically ran a franchise of this main company, and that was important to me. I mean, I didn't want to do anything unethical. I didn't want to cut corners. The people, the value that they paid for. And I mean, it's just ethics. I mean, practice good business ethics.
Yeah.
Be fair. Be honest.
Don't be Seth Rogen.
Don't be Seth. I want to give him shit, but at the same time, I'm like, I don't know how involved or if he was even involved in that whole thing. It's just his name. His name's on the movie because he co-wrote it, co-produced it, and he co-starred in it. So it's like his name's all over it. So, I don't know. Maybe we'll find out one day.
Yeah.
We'll find out his wife was on Ashley Madison. Seth Rogen gets a nasty letter. I hate to inform you, but your wife fucking hates you.
I hate to tell you this, but you're getting blackmailed.
Okay. You're gonna get blackmailed, okay?
I'm really sorry. But so you got any closing thoughts real quick before I shut this down?
No, pretty much. I mean, like that was my thing. Just if you're in business, it's good business practice, and spill that over to your personal life. Be ethical. Think about those things. I mean, really, when you're gonna do something, or when you think about the ethics behind it. Don't just because everybody all they do is think, is it legal? Is it not legal? Think about the ethics. Think about what you're doing, who it affects. short term and long term.
Yep.
Preach it. Lordy, lordy. Preach it.
Lordy, lordy. Going down to Angela.
Oh, my God. Oh, shit.
Good night, everybody.